Hello, and welcome to this online training webinar for foster care from the Foster Care Institute. This webinar is Foster Care Just for Dads. I'm your host, Dr. John DeGarmo, the founder and director of the Foster Care Institute. I'm also an author and a speaker, a trainer, a consultant for foster care, but most importantly, I'm a dad. An adoptive dad, a foster dad, a biological parent, but I am just a father, and that is the role that I embrace the most. And this is my family. As you see, I've adopted 3 children from the foster care system, and I have 3 biological children, and I've had over 50 children come through my home from the foster care system. But make no mistake, every child that's come through my home is considered my child. There are no labels in my home. There's no biological, there's no foster, there's no adoptive. They're all my children, and I have embraced the role of being a father for every one of them. Indeed, every child that has come through my home has made me not only a better citizen, a better husband, but a better father, and I have loved every moment of it. During this seminar, we're going to increase the awareness and expectations and responsibilities as a foster dad. And make no mistake, there are many responsibilities when you are a foster father. When a child from foster care arrives in your home, it is a time of great anxiety. Now, the anxiety does not just mean just for the child. There's anxiety upon your part as well. You are anxious, you are curious, you have questions, maybe you're a little bit nervous, maybe even you're a little bit scared. I know there have been times when I've been a little bit overwhelmed at times when children from foster care have arrived in my home, but I'm always excited for each one that comes in. Children are feeling the same thing, but they are feeling anxious this way. They are scared, they're nervous, they're afraid, they're concerned, they're curious. They don't know you. You are a stranger to them. They will have questions, and you will have questions as well. There will be concerns upon their parts, and of course, they will be afraid. This is why your role as a foster father is so important. They need you to be patient with them. They need you to be compassionate with them. They need you to love them. When a child arrives in your home, one of the responsibilities as a foster father is to be prepared for that child. Have as much background information as you possibly can. Educate yourself beforehand about that child. How do you do that? Well, quite simply, you gather as much information from your caseworker, from perhaps a CASA or a court, whatever it may be. You find out as much as you can about the child beforehand, because that helps you to be better prepared for that child, to provide that child's needs. Is a child is it an infant? Is it a toddler? Is it a teenager? You need to have bed and clothing appropriate for that child. Is a child currently in school? Does a child have medical shots? Is a child up to date with all medical needs? Are there special needs for the child? You need to have all that information to make the entry into your home a little more comfortable. Again, ask as many questions as you possibly can to your caseworker, and don't be afraid to ask those questions. Knowledge is power. And in order for you to be empowered to take care of that child, you have to have those answers. So ask those questions. Quite possibly, you are the first positive role model this child has ever had. The first positive father figure this child probably has ever had. So many children have come through my home as a foster father for the decade and a half who have never had a father figure in their life, or the father figures in their life have been negative, have been abusive, have been harmful, have been destructive. I have embraced that role a long time ago, knowing that I might be the first true positive daddy figure for these children. You might be the first positive adult model as well. Maybe these children have never had a positive mother figure or a grandfather figure or a grandparent figure in their life. You most likely are the first positive role model in any situation for that child. They will be, I emphasize this, they will be watching your every move and action. They'll be listening to every single thing that you say, and what you do around that child and in your home and wherever you are in society. That child will be watching and soaking in and learning from you. The child in your home is going to learn from you how to be a father, how to be a husband, how to be a partner, how to be a workmate, how to be a figure in society. That is a heavy responsibility upon your shoulders. I encourage you to embrace that. I encourage you to enjoy this opportunity because it is a wonderful opportunity. We have, as fathers, the opportunity to shape our culture today. So, quite simply, my friend, it is time for you to step up to the plate. It is time for you to put on your role model hat and shirt. It is time for you to start walking the walk and talking the talk. When we have children, little babies and infants coming into our home, it is time for you to take over some of the feeding. Don't let that all fall upon your partner's or your wife's shoulders. As a foster parent, you should be doing some of the feeding. Now, there have been many, many nights when my wife has been laying in bed and I have been sitting on a couch feeding a baby, just like that picture you see there. And that's great. It's a wonderful opportunity to bond with the child. Am I tired? Sure, but you know what? So is your partner. So is your wife. This is a time as a father figure and as a husband and a partner, as a spouse, for you to step up and take over some of the feeding. Take the baby on some errands, whether you have to go run errands in town, whatever it may be, take the child on errands with you. Learn about child development. How is a little infant in your home developing? Well, part of the responsibility of being a foster parent and a father is to learn about those child development skills. Now, when you were a child, I'm sure you were just like me. You were playing with Legos, you were playing with G.I. Joes and dolls, you were playing with Star Wars figures, you had Lincoln Logs, you had trains, whatever it may be, but you loved to play. Well, my friend, it is time for you to start playing again. Get down on the ground at eye level with that little baby and that infant and play with that child. It is important for that child that you do so because it teaches that child important skills, motor skills, cognitive skills, developmental skills, behavioral skills, social skills. If you don't do that, that child is going to suffer. Play with that child. Sing to that little baby. The little baby that's in your arms. Sing to them. You sing out of tune, the baby doesn't care. Only time you sing is in the shower. Well, start singing aloud outside of the shower to that baby. And of course, tell that little baby and that little infant stories. It needs to hear your voice. It needs to bond with an adult figure. It needs it. If it doesn't, it is a drastic, drastic setback for that child. Now, children in foster care need three things basically. They need stability, they need security, but what they need the most is for someone like you, to love them unconditionally. They need your heart to break for them. They need you to cry for them when they leave. Most likely, these children have not had that type of love in their life. So many children from foster care come from an environment of neglect. They have lived in an environment of violence. All they've heard is profanity. Let me tell you a short story. One of the children that I've adopted from the foster care system came to our house when she was a year and a half old. This little cherub knew one word, just one word. That word was shut up. All she said was shut up to everything. My wife, myself, my children, and she also hit everything in sight. Now she is the most sweetest human being I have ever encountered. it shows me that it's all about environment. These children are coming from a negative, violent, horrible, abusive environment into your home. They need you to love them. They need you to communicate that love with them. Many of the father figures and the parental figures in their life have been poor examples of what a man is supposed to be. Men are tough, men don't cry, men curse, men yell, men throw in rages because that's what a man is to be. No, that's not. That's not what a man is supposed to be. You are to show them what a true man is to be. Communicate, let love to them. Tell them you love them, sing to them, play with them, hold them in your arms. Be nurturing, be compassionate. Today's society, so many children in foster care, and there are roughly 500,000 children in the foster care system at any given day. They have been around men or father figures who treat women in a negative fashion. Perhaps they've abused their wives or their spouses, their partners, their girlfriends, whatever it may be. They've neglected them. They've physically assaulted them, whatever it may be. These children have not seen how a male properly treats a woman. This is where you step up. This is where you are an example. You need to treat their foster mother, your wife, with respect. Everything that you do and say, they're watching, including how you speak and treat around and act around your wife. Are you treating her with kindness? Are you treating her with gentleness? Are you loving her? Are you being kind and understanding and compassionate towards her? Are you treating her with respect and dignity? The dignity and respect that your wife deserves. Because if you are not, those children are watching you and they're learning from you how to treat their future girlfriends and their future wives. If it's a girl in your home, they're learning from you how a husband should treat them when they get married, when they turn older. So it's not just the boys you're showing this to, you're showing this to the girls as well. The little girls in your home are learning from you how they should be treated later on in life. Now, as a father myself of 5 daughters, it is important to me that I show my daughters that they are to be treated with respect, that they are to be treated with integrity and kindness and gentleness and love from their future husbands. I do not want my daughters to be married to an abusive or neglectful husband. I want them to be married to the most wonderful man because these are my daughters and I love them. So I show that the same kind of love and kindness and gentleness to my own wife. I recently had a child in my home, a 17-year-old boy come from foster care who had never had a father figure in his life. His mother went from boyfriend to boyfriend to boyfriend to husband to husband to husband. It was just a revolving door of men in his life. There was no stability of a father figure. And this young lad of 17 years of age wanted to try out for the basketball team and the wrestling team. And he did not make the basketball team, but he did make the wrestling team. Mainly because the wrestling coach accepted everybody on the wrestling team. And he did not know how to win or lose with grace. He would fly off the handle when he would lose. And when he would win, he would brag about it. Because he never had someone to tell him that wins and losses didn't matter. It's how you play the game. He did not know how to play that game. You need to teach your children in your home how to do that, not just on the football field or the basketball court or the baseball diamond, whatever it may be, but in all areas of life. How to win and lose with dignity and grace in all areas. How to operate a business in the business world, how to operate that, how to win and lose with friends and families and in life. They are watching you. You need to teach them the importance of integrity. You need to teach them the importance of playing fair or being fair. Look at that little child there. Have you seen that child in your home in some fashion? There's been many little boys who've come through my home from the foster care system who are just like that, sadly, because no one told them how to control their own anger. I remember my own little daughter who came to me at a year and a half of age. All she said was shut up, and all she did was hit everything in sight. And now she's such a perfect little princess, such a sweet little, kind little young lady. Well, that's because she grew up in an environment where there was much anger, there was much violence, there was much profanity. That was her environment, and those were her role models. You need to remember this. You are a role model for every child in your home. And when you become angry, you're teaching the children in your own home that it's okay for them to fly off in anger as well. So you need to control your own anger and teach the children in your home to do so as well. Remember, you're walking that walk and talking that talk, and they're going to follow in your footsteps. In so many areas of life, it's important to make good decisions, and sometimes we need to make calculated risks in our home and in our life, in our business, whatever it may be. Well, these children do not know that. They do not understand the importance of choices and consequences in every single aspect of life. In my life, I tell children that there is always a choice for our actions and behaviors, and there's always going to be a consequence for that choice. It could be a wonderful consequence, it could be a negative consequence, but it all depends upon our choices. We need to teach our children the importance of making good and positive and well thought out decisions, and that there will be consequences for our positive choices and be consequences for our negative choices in every aspect of life. For example, school. If they study for a test, they could pass and do well. What a great consequence. If they don't study for a test, well, the consequence is they might fail. If they choose to do their chores, they may be rewarded with the consequence of a treat, an ice cream cone, an allowance, whatever it may be. If they don't do their chores, well, the consequence could be a punishment in some area. These children need to learn choices and consequences in every single aspect of life and teach them the importance also of sometimes taking calculated risks in life. Think things through before they act. Children in foster care are generally a year and a half behind academically. They are weak in reading and math skills, and 55%, let me remind you, 55% of children in foster care will drop out of high school, will not graduate, will not get a diploma. Now, you and I know this. In today's world, if one does not have, at the very least, a high school diploma, there is no way in today's weak economy that they're going to find a job. What happens when children in foster care don't have a diploma and don't get a job? The statistics are grim. 65% will end up homeless, 75% will end up in jail, and for so many youth in foster care, the cycle will repeat itself in the next generation for their own children. Therefore, school is so important. Education is primary for a youth in foster care. These children need you to help them with their schoolwork, help them with their academics, help them with their homework, help them study, teach them how to read and write. Along with that, they're going to have most likely poor behavior in school because they've never learned the importance of good positive behavior. You need to teach them how to behave in life and in school. Since they're going to be behind in the grade level, you need to have patience with them and work with them and help them catch up. Stress the importance of education. Stress the importance of getting a high school diploma. These children may only be with you for a short time. They may be for you for a long time, but whatever it may be, you should be stressing continuously and consistently the importance of a high school diploma and perhaps a college degree as well. Homework is just not for mommy. Homework is for you as well. Even if you struggle with some of it as well, for me, I struggle with teaching my children about math. I never taught math. I was an English teacher and a history teacher. I love English and history. I do not enjoy math. That's all my wife's stuff. But there are times when I sit down with my children and try to help them with their math. Sometimes they help me. That's okay. But help your child with their schoolwork. Again, it's not just a job for mommy. It's a job for daddy as well. Now, you know that good work ethic is important, yet we don't see it much in today's society. These children have probably never been in an environment where they have learned the importance of hard work and the rewards that hard work brings. You need to teach them about a good hard work ethic. Share household chores with the child. From in my house, it may be taking out the garbage. It may be feeding the cat or the dog. It might be unloading the dishwasher or washing clothes. It may be sweeping or mopping the floor. It might be blowing off the driveway with the leaves or raking something in the yard. Maybe even mowing the lawn for the older children. It's important these children not only that they have these chores not only to learn about a work ethic, but also it gives them value. It makes them feel like they are part of your family. It shows these children that you trust them enough to do a chore in your home. And when you give them a chore, when you delegate responsibilities in your home, reward them with it, congratulate them on it, thank them for that, show appreciation. Say something simple as, thank you so much for taking out the garbage, I really appreciate it. Hey, the floor looks great, you swept and mopped it wonderfully, would you do it again for me? You're the best person in the house. Oh, look at the dog, he's so grateful that you fed him. Maybe you could do this every day for the dog, I bet he would love it. Things like that. They need to hear words of encouragement so they can take pride in their importance. For many kids, family has never been a priority in their life. In your household, I'm sure it is a priority in your life. That's why you're taking care of these children, because family to you is a priority. Spend individual time with a child in foster care. Get to learn their interests, their hobbies. Get to learn their hopes and their fears. Listen to their concerns and encourage them to be part of your own family. Include them in family activities, sitting around the table together at nighttime, maybe playing ball or catch outside or basketball, going and flying a kite, working on a puzzle together, playing a game together. Include them in family activities so they learn the value and importance of a family. Remember this, every child wants to be in a family. They have a dream vision of what a family, a perfect family, looks like. Sadly, these children are not coming from that family environment. You might be the first positive family environment they've ever been in. America is in the grips of an opiate crisis at this very moment. 60,000 people roughly died from the opiate crisis in the past year. So many more children are being placed into the foster care system from the opiate epidemic. Drugs and alcohol are running rampant in society, and that's why these children are coming from homes like this into the foster care system. They've never had someone tell them about the dangers associated with drugs and alcohol because their own parents, their own relatives have dived into that dangerous world themselves. It is up to you to talk to them about drugs and alcohol, because if you don't, then who will? I'll say it again. If you don't tell them about it, then who will? The chances are likely that your foster child will drink when he or she is older because their own parents did. Now, perhaps you have a glass of wine or a beer once in a while. Remember, these children are watching you. So when you drink alcohol or wine or whatever it may be, you need to make sure that you do so in a responsible fashion and in moderation. Well, you're the role model, my friend. They're going to learn how to drive. If you're one of those angry drivers, guess what? The children in your home are probably going to be angry drivers as well. If you're one of those kind drivers who allows people to turn in front of you or come in front of you, whatever it may be, they're going to do the same thing. So remember, you are the role model when you drive as well. When you're behind that wheel, whatever you say and do, they're watching you. These children, these youth need to learn how to drive at some point in their life. For the older youth in foster care that are in your home, guess what? You might be the person driving, teaching them how to drive. So get permission from your caseworker to train a child to drive when they are of age. Now, So many children have come to my home who have never learned the importance of telling the truth. In fact, there have been some kids who every word I think to myself is a lie because no one's told them the importance of honesty. Well, that's your job, my friend. As a father figure, you are to teach a child the importance of being honest. Also, how to pay and accept compliments. I am a big believer of the two big words, please and thank you. I say please and thank you to my children. I say please and thank you to the person at the grocery store, at the gas station, at the restaurant. I say please and thank you to my wife. I say please and thank you to everybody because not only is it being kind and decent, it's teaching my own children to do the same thing. So if you accept your children, if you expect your children to use kind manners and kind compliments, if you expect them to do so to you and to your wife, you need to model that. You need to model that wherever you go. Again, when I'm at the gas station, and if a child is with me, or not even with me, I'm going to say thank you so much when I leave the store. Or may I please have some gas, something like that. Or to a grocery store, thank you to the cash register. Again, the children are watching you. Now, none of us are perfect. And for me, I make mistakes all the time, and I'm usually frustrating my wife with something that I've neglected to do. I'm quick to tell her I'm sorry. I'm also quick to tell the children in my house I'm sorry as well. We need to model to these children that it's okay to apologize and it's okay to say I'm sorry. In fact, we're no less of a man when we say I'm sorry. So many people in society believe, well, men don't cry, men don't say they're sorry, men don't apologize. Sure, they do. And you need to teach them that. Now, as a father figure, as a husband, you need to give your foster mother, your wife, your partner, your spouse, some time off. You might be watching the football game in the basement while she's upstairs doing laundry. You might be going hunting while she's taking care of the kids. You might be going shopping or watching a movie or whatever it may be. Well, guess what? Your wife, your partner, your spouse needs some time off as well. So give her some time off. Let her go shopping. Let her have some personal time. Let her spend some time with some friends. It's important to her well being. It's important to your well being. And it shows the children that, you know what? You're putting your wife first. And that's how it should be, right? Now, you need to make sure that you keep yourself safe as well. You should never be left alone as a foster father. Never be left alone with a foster child who has been sexually abused. Why? Because you do not want false accusations made against you by the child or by their birth parents. False accusations can destroy you, can destroy your house, can destroy your family, can destroy your career. You need to be careful as a foster father, as a father figure. Do not be left alone with a child who has been sexually abused. Spend some special times with the children in your home. Take them on a walk. Go to the movies with them. Take them to the zoo or museums. Teach them things at museums. Take them to a walk in the park. Go eat out for dinner, for ice cream. Take them on picnics. Laugh with them. Laugh with them. Laugh with them. They love to see the father figures in their life laugh. They need to see you having fun. Tell jokes with them. Have a great time with these kids. Tell them bedtime stories. Oh, they love when you sit down and read books to them. Not only do they enjoy it, not only is it bonding, not only is it showing love, it is also teaching them important skills as well. One of the highlights of my year every year in February is I take my 5 daughters, or 4 daughters, or 3 daughters, whatever it may be, it's in the house at the time, to the father-daughter dance. In fact, it's something I started years ago in my own community because I wanted the foster girls in my home to see that their daddies care for them. So take your daughters and father-daughter dance. Bake cookies with them. Have wonderful times with them. Now, you need to protect yourself as well. Protect yourself as a father figure. Protect your family. Remember, there can be past false accusations made against you. Past history. Keep written records of everything that happens in your home when you are caring for children in foster care. Keep documentation of all that happens. When visitations occur, make sure you keep records of what happened beforehand and afterwards as well. Make sure your home is a safe environment. Make sure the children are supervised at all times. If there are sexually active children in your home, you need to make sure that your family is not in danger from it. And use discipline that is appropriate, age appropriate, gender appropriate, and appropriate to a child in foster care. Of course, no child in foster care is ever spanked. None. Never. Ever. So make sure that you use a discipline that is appropriate. Finally, if a child in your home should threaten to abuse themselves, should threaten to injure themselves, should threaten to commit suicide, whatever it may be, you need to pick up that phone immediately and contact your child's caseworker right that very moment. Even if they suggest that they're going to commit self-abuse, you need to make sure you call them and let them know. Why? It's protecting your family and yourself from false accusations. Hey, thank you so much for joining me on this important online training webinar. You can find out much more information on my website, drjohndegarmofostercare.com. Follow me on Facebook for so much more. And if you have any questions about this webinar or anything else, please feel free to email me. Here's a great book for you as a foster dad to read to your child in foster care. A Different Home, a New Foster Child Story. It's about a young girl, a 7-year-old girl, in her words, placed into a foster home, and how her foster family, including her foster dad, helped her to make that transition a much easier and a much smoother one. It's a great book for you as a dad to read to your foster children. And of course, I have many other books as well. Thank you so much for taking this webinar. Thank you so much for all that you do, and I look forward to hearing stories from you about how you have changed the life of children in foster care while you have been a dad. Thanks, Dad.